There is a moment each morning that most of us miss, the moment before the world intrudes, before the phone rings, before the mind is swept away by news, work, and the expectations of others. It is the moment when you can decide who you will be today, how you will live. If you miss it, someone else will decide for you, but if you seize it, the entire day and perhaps your entire life will change. Stoicism reminds us that the only thing we truly command is our own mind and our own choices. Each morning is a new doorway where you hold the power to shape your attitude, thoughts, and actions before circumstances shape you. When you begin the day with a clear awareness of the person you intend to be, you place your own hand on the helm instead of drifting with the current. This is not some distant theory, but an inner power, always within reach. And today we will go deeper into how to take hold of that power. 1. I am not bound by the past. The past is something we cannot change, yet it often becomes an invisible prison holding us captive. Mistakes, failures, or moments of regret can replay hundreds of times in the mind, making us believe we are defined by what has already happened. Stoicism reminds us that what belongs to yesterday is beyond our control, and allowing it to dictate the present is to willingly surrender our freedom. Each day is a new beginning, a blank page on which to rewrite the story, yet many unconsciously reread the old chapters as if they were the whole book of their life. When you let the past decide how you think, feel, and act, you hand over your agency to something that no longer exists. The truth is, you are not the person you were last week, last month, or last year. You are changing every day, learning from experience, and evolving with each choice. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that a person always has the power to renew themselves, so long as they focus on the present and act with reason rather than being pulled backward by memory. Every wound and failure can become a lesson instead of a chain. They do not define you. They are simply the backdrop against which you prove your strength in the present. The only thing that shapes the future is what you decide to do now. When you wake in the morning, ask yourself, who will I be today? And let that answer guide your actions instead of letting old memories impose limits. Letting go of the past does not mean forgetting, it means accepting and choosing to move forward. It is the declaration that you are the author of today's page, and no one, not even the version of you from yesterday, has the right to write it for you. 2. Stop chasing, start attracting. When we constantly chase something, be it success, recognition, or love, we often act from a place of lack. That pursuit sends the message that we are not enough, that we need something external to fill an inner void. This not only drains our energy, but also subtly places our self-worth in the hands of others or in factors we cannot control. Stoicism reminds us that sufficiency does not come from holding more, but from cultivating within a state of fullness, independence, and self-command. When you stop chasing, you stop giving away the power to decide your emotions to things beyond your reach. You shift your focus from pursuing outcomes to becoming the kind of person through character, mindset, and way of life who naturally draws the right things toward you. This is the movement from the energy of scarcity to the energy of abundance. In Stoic philosophy, this mirrors the cultivation of virtue, integrity, courage, temperance, and wisdom. Because these qualities act like magnets, drawing opportunities and relationships that align with the order of the universe. Stopping the chase does not mean abandoning effort or giving up goals. On the contrary, it demands greater focus on what you can control, your actions, habits, and presence each day. When you work with calm, without the fear of missing out or the pressure to prove something, you send out a different message, the message of confidence and steadiness. This is the kind of energy people in fitting opportunities naturally sense and are drawn to. In the end, attraction is not magic or luck. It is the natural result of living true to yourself and your values. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you no longer have to chase what is right because it will find you at the right time. Inner peace is the foundation that makes everything else clearer and more ordered. 3. Be the author, not the audience, of your life. Each person's life is like a book being written day by day. Every thought, every choice, every action is a sentence, a paragraph, a new chapter. Yet many live as if they are merely spectators, reading a story someone else has already written for them. They let circumstances, other people, or societal expectations hold the pen and decide the direction of the book. Stoic philosophy reminds us that if we do not actively take up the role of author, someone else inevitably will, and it will rarely reflect who we truly are. To be the author of your life is to be aware that each day is an opportunity to choose and shape the story. Stoicism teaches that external factors may set the stage, but the content is still ours to decide. You cannot control the weather, but you can choose whether to walk in the rain or seek shelter. You cannot control every event, but you always have the power to decide your response and turn it into part of the story's meaning. This is the power Epictetus stressed. We cannot control events, but we can fully command our interpretation and our actions. When you live as an audience, you are easily pulled along by someone else's script, only to realize at the end of life that much of your time was spent on chapters that were never yours. By contrast, when you live as the author, you consciously ask, "Does this align with the path I choose?" before acting. This takes awareness and courage, because writing your own story often means going against the crowd, refusing roles that do not fit, and accepting full responsibility for the outcome. Being the author is not about perfect sentences. It is about ensuring they reflect your will, values, and vision. Every choice, no matter how small, is a stroke of the pen shaping your story's direction. When you understand this, you stop waiting for a pre-written chapter and start creating the content yourself. And that is when life truly becomes your work of art. 4. Protect what is precious: time, energy, peace. There are assets that, once lost, can never be regained, and the three most precious are time, energy, and peace. Money can be earned again. Possessions can be replaced, but every hour and minute that passes is gone forever. Stoicism reminds us that time is the measure of life itself, and how you use it reflects the value you place on yourself. When you let your time be consumed by what does not matter, you are willingly trading your most valuable resource for things with no lasting meaning. Energy is the fuel behind every action and thought. It is not infinite, and if scattered in too many directions, you will quickly burn out. Stoicism advises that we invest our energy in what we can control and in what truly matters, rather than wasting it on worry or arguments over what lies beyond our reach. Protecting energy means knowing how to choose, how to say no, and how to prioritize what is worth the investment of your mind. Peace is an inner state that cannot be bought at any price. It is the foundation for clear reason and the preservation of our values. If peace is invaded by the noise of negativity, the pressures of the outside world, or the chaos within, you lose the ability to make sound decisions. Stoicism reminds us that setting boundaries is not selfish. It is protecting the inner ground where clear thought and wise action are born. When you guard your time, energy, and peace, you are building the foundation for a meaningful life. These three resources fuel your pursuit of purpose, sustain your virtue, and allow you to live in alignment with your values. And only when they are preserved can you be fully present and live as your true self. 5. Discipline and consistency. The enduring flame. Discipline is the foundation of all lasting achievement, and consistency is the force that sustains it over time. Motivation may arrive in powerful bursts, but it is like the wind, shifting easily and vanishing quickly. Discipline is different. It is the steady commitment to the right action, even when feelings do not cooperate, even when no one is watching. Stoicism sees discipline as an expression of true freedom, for the disciplined person is not ruled by emotion or circumstance, but knows what must be done and acts with reason. Consistency is the ability to repeat those right actions day after day, turning them into habits and a natural part of who you are. In Stoic thought, consistency is living in harmony with your chosen principles, not just in favorable moments, but in challenging seasons as well. Each time you keep the promise you made to yourself, you are reinforcing your will and determination, adding fuel to a flame that never goes out. Discipline and consistency are not constraints. They are a profound form of self-care. They protect what matters most, bring you closer to your goals, and keep you from being swept away by life's chaos. Together, they form an enduring strength that carries you through low motivation, unexpected trials, and the fatigue of long journeys. Stoicism teaches that right action does not require instant perfection. It requires steady persistence, one small step at a time. Each day you uphold discipline and maintain consistency, you carve your principles deeper into your being. That enduring flame becomes your guiding light, even in darkness and uncertainty. This is the path to turning goals into reality and philosophy into a way of life. 6. Full yet still growing. Living in fullness does not mean stopping, and growth does not mean always feeling a lack. In Stoic philosophy, fullness comes from recognizing that everything necessary for a good life is already within reach. Wisdom, virtue, the ability to choose your response, and the opportunity to live fully in the present. It is the state of valuing what you have without being haunted by comparison or endless desire. Yet Stoicism also reminds us that we are not born merely to exist, but to train ourselves, expand our understanding, and move closer to the best version of who we can be. When you are both full and growing, you do not chase change out of fear or pressure. You move forward from gratitude and awareness. You are not seeking to fill a void, but to discover new potential, to raise your own value, and to contribute more to the world around you. This is a way of living that maintains balance. Enjoying the present while planting seeds for the future, being content with what you have yet, never ceasing to learn and refine. Stoicism teaches that a peaceful mind is the foundation for sustainable growth. Once the inner life is steady, every step forward becomes clear and secure, untouched by fleeting temptations. Growth from this foundation does not diminish contentment. Rather, it deepens gratitude and the value of each experience. It is important to understand that growth is not always made of grand leaps. It can be the refinement of small actions, thoughts, and habits. Continuous improvement, even slow, is still progress. And when it comes from a place of fullness, it carries no burden, only joy and freedom. The combination of fullness and growth is an art of living, knowing when to pause to feel and when to step forward to mature. It is the path of cherishing what is while continuously expanding your own boundaries, living fully in the present yet still moving ahead. 7. No noise can drown the inner voice. The modern world overflows with noise. It is not only the physical sounds of traffic, devices, or crowds, but also the streams of information, opinions, and invisible pressures that seep into the mind each day. Without awareness, you can easily be pulled into this chaos, letting outside noise shape your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Stoic philosophy reminds us that true strength lies in holding on to the inner voice, even when surrounded by clamor. This is the art of hearing yourself amidst the countless calls of the world. The inner voice is the voice of reason, values, and core beliefs. It is not loud, not rushed, but always steady. When you pause to listen, you find that it offers a clarity no external noise can replace. Stoicism teaches that the aim is not to silence the noise, an impossible task, but to train yourself so it cannot command your mind. Like a sailor in a storm, you cannot control the wind, but you can keep your hands steady on the helm by following the compass within. Noise often seeks to dominate through urgency, fear of missing out, or the craving for approval. The inner voice, in contrast, points you toward what endures, helping you distinguish between what matters and what merely passes. When you live by your inner voice, your decisions are no longer swayed by others' opinions or by fleeting trends, but are guided by understanding and virtue. Protecting the inner voice does not mean withdrawing from the world. It means choosing carefully what the mind receives. It is setting boundaries for information, relationships, and surroundings to preserve space for inner stillness. When the inner voice is strong, the outer noise. 7. Letting go of unrealistic expectations. Expectations are natural in relationships, but when they are detached from reality, they quietly breed disappointment and conflict. Unrealistic expectations arise when we assume others will act as we believe they should, or when we think that what we value must matter equally to them. The truth is, each person is shaped by different backgrounds, experiences, and values. What is obvious to us may not be to them. By imposing our standards without discussion or agreement, we put them in a position where any action outside our expectation is judged as wrong. Stoic philosophy reminds us that a wise person is not angered when others act according to their nature. Marcus Aurelius wrote that each morning we should prepare ourselves to meet selfish, ungrateful, arrogant, or impulsive people, not to grow cynical, but to prevent our mind from being shocked or thrown off balance when it happens. Such preparation adjusts our expectations toward reality, helping us remain calm and respond with reason. Letting go of unrealistic expectations does not mean abandoning personal standards or accepting all behavior. It means we stop expecting others to meet standards they never agreed to or even knew existed. When we accept that people will act in ways that reflect who they truly are, we start making decisions based on reality, not on an imagined ideal. This allows us to choose to stay or leave a relationship based on values alignment, rather than clinging to the false hope that they will change. Clinging to unrealistic expectations sets us up for repeated disappointment. Each time they fall short, we feel not only let down, but also personally disregarded. In truth, it is often not disrespect, it is simply a difference in values and priorities. Understanding this helps us take things less personally and focus on relationships and situations that offer genuine harmony. Releasing unrealistic expectations is an act of liberation. It enables us to receive people and circumstances as they are and to choose wisely rather than live in cycles of frustration. This is not surrender, but maturity, knowing the boundary between what we wish for and what reality allows, while holding our peace regardless of how others choose to act. 8. Not everything deserves a reaction. Reaction is a natural reflex to outside stimuli, but when it becomes a habit unchecked, we hand over control of our emotions to situations and to others. Each time we let a word, an action, or even a glance trigger an immediate response, we allow external factors to dictate our inner state. This drains energy and keeps the mind tense, ready for conflict, even when the situation does not merit our effort. Stoicism emphasizes the space between stimulus and response. Epictetus taught that it is not external events that trouble us, but the way we interpret and respond to them. That pause is our chance to choose. Is this truly important, or is it a small matter magnified by ego or passing emotion? When we stop, observe, and weigh the moment, we often see that most triggers have no real bearing on our values or life's purpose. Not every conflict needs to be settled immediately, and not every word or act we dislike requires a reply. Often, silence or letting go is the wiser path, for it preserves energy and helps us stay composed. This is not tolerating injustice or disrespect, but distinguishing between situations that require action and those that merely test our self-control. When we refuse to react to what does not matter, we step out of the cycle of emotional tug-of-war. We keep our focus on what is meaningful, rather than letting our time and mind be consumed by pointless disputes. This is how we maintain sovereignty over ourselves, for each reaction we give is attention we hand to the outside, and if we do so constantly, we erode our inner control. Choosing not to react to the trivial is a form of mental discipline. It demands the clarity to separate what must be addressed from the noise that can be ignored. In practicing this, we discover that peace is not found when the world is quiet, but when we are steady enough not to let meaningless noise disturb the stillness within. 9. Choosing your battles. Choosing your battles is a vital skill for protecting both your energy and your inner peace. It does not mean avoiding all conflict or remaining silent in the face of every problem. It is the ability to clearly discern which confrontations are truly necessary and which are mere clashes that drain you without offering value. Without this discernment, you can easily fall into the pattern of being drawn into endless, meaningless disputes, reacting to every word or action that displeases you, and wasting time and emotion on what is not worth it. Stoic philosophy urges us not to be pulled into battles driven only by ego or the need to prove we are right. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that true strength lies in the ability to keep the mind from being drawn into what does not matter. This requires a high degree of self-awareness to assess a situation before acting. What is my goal? What outcome am I seeking? Does this confrontation serve my values and principles? When you choose your battles wisely, you protect your mental energy for issues that truly affect your life or your most important relationships. You also maintain emotional stability because you no longer react impulsively to every provocation. You understand that some conflicts are not about finding solutions, but about pulling you into a cycle of negativity. In such moments, stepping back and staying silent becomes a strategic choice, not a sign of weakness. Choosing your battles also means setting clear boundaries. When you know what is worth defending, you speak up or act decisively when those boundaries are crossed. This is an act of respect for yourself and the values you hold dear. Yet such decisiveness does not come from bursts of anger. It comes from clarity and a steady resolve to protect what is right. This skill requires balancing principle with flexibility. Sometimes silence is needed to preserve harmony or protect your energy. At other times, direct confrontation is necessary to stop harm. Once you achieve this balance, you are no longer drawn into fights out of habit. You consciously engage only in those that are truly worth your time and strength. This is how you live both firmly and peacefully, directing your power with purpose and meaning. 10. Returning to yourself. Returning to yourself means bringing your attention, time, and energy back to the only place where you truly hold control yourself. When your mind is constantly occupied with analyzing, judging, or trying to fix others, it becomes easy to neglect your own needs, goals, and inner state. This not only causes you to lose direction in your relationships, but also severs your connection with your true self. Returning to yourself is not selfishness or withdrawal from the world. It is the foundation for living with clarity and purpose. Stoicism teaches that happiness and peace do not depend on others changing, but on how we use our time and our thoughts. When you focus on strengthening your mind, developing your skills, and reinforcing your principles, you become steady in the face of any external turbulence. This not only preserves your emotional stability, but also sharpens your ability to make wise decisions, because you are no longer swayed by the behavior or emotions of others. Returning to yourself also means reordering your priorities. Instead of obsessing over what others think or how they act, you ask, does this bring me closer to my goal? And what must I do right now to protect my peace and values? By asking these questions consistently, you begin to see which situations or relationships no longer serve your growth, and you are willing to adjust or let go. Another essential benefit is the restoration of your mental energy. When you stop spending it on controlling or justifying yourself to others, you have more time and focus to care for yourself, maintain personal discipline, and pursue what truly matters. This focus helps you build a life on solid ground, where your worth does not depend on anyone's approval or reaction. Ultimately, returning to yourself is an active declaration of self-sovereignty. You choose to lead your own life instead of merely reacting to the world. In doing so, you not only regain peace, you open the way to living fully, with resolve and clarity, no matter how the world changes around you. 11. Letting others fully feel their emotions. Letting others fully feel their emotions requires both understanding and restraint. Many people instinctively try to soothe or change someone's feelings the moment they see sadness, anger, or disappointment. While this may come from kindness or a desire to keep the peace, it can unintentionally send the message that their emotions are something to be erased immediately. In truth, emotions, whether pleasant or painful, are essential to the human experience, and they must be felt in full to be understood and learned from. Stoicism does not encourage the avoidance of emotion, but the mindful observation of it without letting it dictate action. When you allow someone to feel their emotions completely, you are respecting their ownership of their experience. You do not impose a timeline or method for them to get over it, but instead give them the space they need to find their own clarity. This respect fosters trust, because it shows you are steady enough to stand beside them even in their heaviest moments. Allowing someone to live fully through their emotions also helps them develop self-awareness and self-regulation. If you constantly fix their feelings, they never learn how to face and process them on their own. But when they can experience their emotions without interference, they gain insight into the cause, the reaction, and the effect, building the capacity to manage themselves more effectively. This is the groundwork for true emotional resilience. It also helps you maintain healthy emotional boundaries. You recognize that their emotions belong to them, and it is not your role to carry or reshape their experience. A quiet presence, listening without judgment or imposing solutions, often brings far more comfort than rushed advice or quick fixes. In the long run, this approach strengthens relationships. Healthy relationships are not built solely on joyful moments, but on the ability to endure heavy seasons without harming each other. By allowing others to fully feel their emotions, you create a foundation of trust where both people can be fully themselves with honesty, depth, and the whole truth of human feeling. 12. Let them, a daily practice. Let them is not something you hear once and apply forever. It is a mental discipline that must be trained daily. Each day, life presents countless moments that tempt you to interfere, to explain, to prove you are right, or to defend your viewpoint at all costs. Without awareness, you can easily slip back into old habits of instant reaction and attempts to control how others think or act. Practicing let them means catching that moment, pausing, and deliberately choosing to let go. At its core, let them is a return to what you can control: your own thoughts, actions, and responses. Each time you resist the urge to fix or persuade others, you strengthen your mastery over yourself. This is a repetitive process, not a one-time achievement. Some days you will do it well. Other days, you will react impulsively and realize you've been pulled into what wasn't worth it. The key is that each time you notice, you return to the principle and keep practicing without self-blame or giving up. Daily practice of let them builds a protective layer around your inner peace. As you grow accustomed to letting others live their choices, you become less swayed by judgments, silence, or actions you dislike. You understand that your worth and calm are not tied to others' agreement or approval. This frees you from emotional dependence on external factors, allowing you to live according to your own principles. To the Stoics, this is mental training no different from strengthening the body. Each time you choose let them over reacting, you reinforce your mental fortitude and increase your self-control. Over time, it becomes second nature, not a forced effort, but a healthy reflex in facing the world. Ultimately, when let them becomes a way of living, it brings freedom from being drawn into every conflict, clarity in knowing what is worth your energy, and maturity in focusing only on what you can change. This is the path to sustaining lasting peace in a world that never stops changing. In my view, the principles just shared are not abstract theories, but practical tools you can apply immediately to change the way you live and see the world. Stoicism does not seek to paint life in brighter colors or erase hardship. It helps us face it with calm, clarity, and self-command. When understood and practiced, you will realize that the greatest power lies in mastering your thoughts and responses, not in controlling every circumstance. This frees you from the pressure of comparison, from chasing the standards of others, and gives you the strength to live in alignment with your core values. Each day becomes an opportunity for training, each challenge a step forward in the journey of growth. Above all, it reminds us that time, energy, and peace are priceless assets to be cherished and guarded with full awareness. If you find these values helpful, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next content. Finally, remember that life waits for no one, and each passing day is a singular opportunity to live as the person you want to become. Do not simply let time slip away. Turn it into proof of your growth